Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria, the capital city of the province of British Columbia here in Western Canada. I hope that everybody is having an awesome weekend so far. Welcome, Chayan Kip. Good to see many students already in the class. Hi, Kiran Deep Karur. Tyler Matthew, great to have you all here with me. In this class, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 3. This is continuing from IELTS Speaking Part 2. We just did our Speaking Part 2 cue card class. It finished half an hour ago. And that cue card was talk about a good place for learning. Now, no surprise, Speaking Part 3 continues from Speaking Part 2. That's the way the IELTS exam is set up. So you have your Speaking Part 2 cue card on a specific topic, like talking about a place for learning. And then you have Speaking Part 3 questions from the examiner, which are connected, related to the Part 2 topic, like talking about educational establishments. And that's what we will be doing today. These materials are brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there, as well as gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. On both of our websites, we have lots of content to help you improve. This is aehelp.com here. We will be using this website very soon for speaking, because this website has a speaking interface. So we will be using it. To sign up for the premium course, click this big red button here, the Join Now button. We are an official British Council IELTS Test Registration Center partners, IDP partners, and certified British Council agents. So you are in great hands with us. Use the code IELTS 9 for a 25% discount. We use lots of materials from our premium IELTS package, like our practice exams and speaking section interview questions. So it's a really great idea to join. It doesn't cost a lot. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. So use that code, get that discount, and you're off to the races. You're on your way to a great band score. General IELTS, same idea, gieltshelp.com, and click that big red button there to join the premium IELTS package. Adam, I'm doing great, thank you. All right. If your level is 6.5, Mohammed, and you're going for a band 8, you should spend at least 4 to 6 months practicing every single day. This discount is not just for Ukrainians, Vitaly. It is a discount for everybody. Okay, so everybody can use that discount code. All right, you can use it here as well. Again, the code is IELTS 9. Okay, and you can use it on the general IELTS page as well. All right, students, so we have lots of lessons coming up over the next week as well for live classes, and we have a special lesson tomorrow for speaking on Lighthall. It's a free class. It's on a brand new platform called Lighthall. This platform is specially designed for live teaching, so it's real time, there's no lag, and you can actually chat to other students, and you can chat to the teacher within the lesson, not just with text but also with audio and video. So it's really cool, and we have a free class for you tomorrow, 100% free. If you have not registered yet, definitely register. We still have spaces available. I think there is about 50 students so far who have registered for this class, so I'll throw that into the chat. So that will be speaking, and that will be a full speaking interview session. So we will look at part 1, 2, and 3 for that one. Okay, students, so check that out. If you have questions, let me know. And if you like these lessons, definitely subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel. Hit the bell button to get notifications. That's a great idea. Then you can see our schedule. We have our schedule for next week as well. So we will have no class on YouTube tomorrow, but we will have class on Lighthall. The next class on YouTube will be on the 30th of June. And then we will have classes throughout the week next week. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button, get notifications, know when these live classes are going on. All right, everyone. Mahesh, you can improve your speaking skills through good practice, focusing on communication and focusing on English skills like vocabulary and grammar, and paying attention to listener or audience-oriented communication skills, thinking about your listener. And we're going to practice that today, students. So when you're talking to your IELTS examiner, think about the examiner. The examiner might not be from your country. The examiner might be from the UK. They could be from New Zealand. They could be from a neighboring country and have very high level English. They could be from Canada like me. So they don't know what you know. They could be a different generation. They could be much older. They could even be younger. So they don't necessarily have the same information as you. So you have to speak to them clearly with a loud voice, and you have to give good detail, clear explanations and examples to your answers. Let's try this. So before we really dig in, let's just do a quick recap of part 2 speaking. Okay. So recap, speaking part 2, the topic in the last class, it was talk about a good place for learning. Okay, and we talked about the computer lab at university. I don't know why I keep putting an E on the end of that. Computer lab at university. Okay, we also talked about the library. What other ideas came to mind? So we had a couple of other ideas. Okay, thank you, Emre. Okay. Taylor, you're asking which IELTS do you need to write applying for a driving job? It could be academic, it could be general. You have to check with them. Okay, Bong Sister says study center. Yeah. Yeah, we said study center could be, yeah, and Central Park as well. Okay. Now, students, the reason we're doing a recap of speaking part 2, so the ideas, remember, I told you the most important step in your entire IELTS speaking section interview is to come up with 2-3 good ideas for part 2. Why? Because your ideas for part 2 are also very useful for part 3 questions. Okay, remember these when you are answering part 3. Okay, they're very useful, right? Chayon Kip says maybe a cafe as well, coffee shop. Lots of people do studies at a cafe. Yeah. They can get coffee or tea, which gives them energy to stay focused, right? Okay, and we also did bedroom at home, yeah. Sure, very nice. All right, everyone. So IELTS speaking part 3. Let's do this. Here we go. So the examiner says, That is the end of part 2. Now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about educational establishments. Okay. Now, you're obviously immediately going to think university, school, library. Okay. Here we go. So, first question, give me a nice full sentence answer. I'll take a look at some of your answers from the chat. I'll give you feedback. And then very soon we will do live speaking once you get a couple of ideas, tips, tricks from me on the best ways to answer. Okay, so what are places where people get formal education? Okay, so some common locations for all right. There's my answer. Repeat after me. Students, this is speaking, so let's do repeat. We want to do lots of speaking practice in this class because this class is kind of the last class of YouTube this week. You have the Light Hall class tomorrow on Light Hall, right? But right now, this is our last class for this. So let's do a good job of this. Okay, let's do a lot of repetition, repeat and speak. Copy my intonation, copy my pronunciation. Okay, repeat and speak. Copy intonation, copy pronunciation. I speak with a West Coast North American accent. So if you visit Vancouver, Victoria, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, you will hear a lot of people using a very similar type of English as what I'm using. Okay, so focus in on that. Here's the first question again. What are some places where people get formal education? Some common locations for structured learning include public schools, universities, and colleges. These places provide well-developed curricula as well as professional teachers, so they are quite effective. This is the reason I'm attending university for my future career as a psychologist. Okay. All right, so that's a clear answer, explanation, example, smooth example. I don't give time for the examiner to interrupt me. I just give the example. This is the reason I'm attending university for my future career as a psychologist. Okay, all right, keep it simple. Let's see what you've come up with. Akira. Akira says, in my opinion, the best, it's unique, Akira, the best option to get an education is at a library, study center with beautiful views of nature. Akira, why do we need beautiful views of nature for formal study? If that place is cozy and beautiful, it cheer you up so you can study without any hesitation. Why are you suddenly switching to talking about me, cheering me up? Looking at beautiful nature makes me depressed, especially if I can't go outside. Don't switch to you, students, okay? So do not use you in your answers because it is awkward. Okay? So if that place is cozy and beautiful, it can cheer up learners so they can study without any distraction, okay? Don't use you, all right? Now, Akira, also use the question. The question is formal education. Get formal education, okay? I don't see that in your answer, so use the question, okay? Use the question in your answer to give accurate and direct answers, okay? To get structured. I paraphrased it. I did that, Akira. I said to get structured learning. For structured learning. That was the way I paraphrased it. If you can't paraphrase it, just use it. Just say to get formal education. Okay? All right. Amu. This is what Amu says here. Amu says, according to me, the most common platform where people can gain knowledge by attending classes are at a certified and structured institution. Institution and schools are the same, so let's say like colleges and universities. Okay, good, Amu. Now, Amu and Akira, both of you said, one of you said, in my opinion. Akira said, in my opinion. And Amu, you said, according to me. It's a little bit strange here, okay? Careful how you choose your expressions. Make sure that they're sensible and you're not just using them. Structured institutions or structured learning institutions like universities and schools, they're formal education, not just according to you, but pretty much according to everyone, okay? So quick tip here, Amu, is choose your expressions carefully, okay? Keep in mind, students, that examiners do not like to hear template speaking, okay? Like, there are many places for people to get formal education, but the best places are, okay? So if you speak this way, it will lower your score, especially if you have good English and you could get a higher score, like a band 7, 8, 9. If you start using these kinds of leading expressions that you learned from YouTube, where somebody told you, hey, use these 5 words to get a high band score. No, don't do that, okay? If a student sounds like they're a copy of 10 other students that day, they will get a low score, okay? So keep that in mind. So if a candidate sounds the same as 10 other candidates that day, because everybody or all of them are using the same words copied from YouTube, the examiner will give a low mark or lower mark, okay? They don't like that, and it's not, the reason why is because it's not natural. So one of the criteria for them is it has to be natural language, okay? They are listening for natural and original language. Okay, keep that in mind. All right. So, Students, lots of information. Let's do some live speaking. Let's get right into it. Let's give everybody lots of chances to speak now, okay? So I want to give as much opportunity since it is the final YouTube class this week. Again, tomorrow we'll have speaking on Lighthall. Okay, so far, important points. Use the question in your answer. Okay, give accurate answers. Use the question. Number 2, don't use templates. Number 3, don't use you in your answers. Okay. All right, let's take some volunteers and let's really get into this. So I'll teach you more tips and strategies. Oftentimes when I hear you speak, I myself discover better ways to show you how to communicate well in English. So that's why this is so effective, okay? To volunteer for speaking, everyone, okay? First of all, go to aehelp.com, our website. That's where you can talk to other students, talk to other professionals. Create an account, okay, a My Student account. Then click on Student Partner Speaking. You're going to see this option. Make sure to enable your microphone in the browser, okay? So when the browser says, can this browser or website use your microphone and the speaker? Yes, it's not possible to talk and listen otherwise. And then you will see me in the Student Partner Speaking with Master as my title, and just send me a message. Say, I want to volunteer. When I see that message, the I want to volunteer message, then I will ping different students and we'll connect and we'll talk, okay? So here we go, everybody. First, go to the website, aehelp.com. It looks like this. Again, you can, so here, let me type that in for you. So it's aehelp.com, okay? That's where you're going, all right? And then you can click on this red button to join the premium package. It's a one-time payment. It's totally worth it. I highly recommend it. Or you can sign up free with the green button, the try demo button. That's all good as well. And then click on the My Student account. Actually, it will probably log you in automatically the first time that you sign up. So you're logged in here. And then you'll see computer-based practice exams, full interactive course, exam books that you can download, lesson videos. There's like 100 lesson videos that you can watch. There's audio CDs. You can use it on your mobile phone. You've got writing services. And then you have this Student Partner Speaking. And if you like that, you can even book a speaking interview with me by clicking this yellow speaking interview practice button. You can download the app by using the QR code that's just behind my head there as well, and install the app using the QR code. Okay, for right now, let's click on the Student Partner Speaking. And you have to click accept the speaking terms. Please do not use this speaking service if you are driving or doing an activity that requires your attention. You are responsible for using this. So speak politely, use it with care, and just be respectful of all of the students who are in here. Okay, so once you're in here, you will see lots of students, and I see lots of our students in here. So we have Achang, Vu, Jay, Shambhavi, Abhashri, Harman, Preet, Ravi, Ghazi, Eugene, Bright, and Rahul, which is awesome. So we've got lots of students, and you'll find me in here as Master. Okay, it'll all be capital letters. Click on the blue envelope beside my name and send me a message. Say, I want to volunteer. Okay, so use that blue envelope and then I'll see that. Okay, all right. So let's see if we can reach out to Shambhavi. First one in the list here, volunteering. Okay. And then I'll message you back. Are you ready? Are you ready? Just so I know that you're there. Just so I know you haven't left for coffee or tea. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Shambhavi.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. Good to have you back. I know that you volunteered earlier this week, which is great. Regular practice is key.
Yeah,
So
actually, my exam is approaching, and I thought that it would be a better way to practice.
it is. And for everybody out there who has exams, start using this website and this page as early as possible so that you can really get that great score. Okay. I'm trying to remember your name, and I think I've got it. It's Shambhavi.
Yeah, you pronounced it correctly.
All right, because I remember I had a wrong pronunciation before, but now it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, I'm learning too. All right, okay, let's do this. So, speaking part 3 follows speaking part 2. So don't forget about what we did in speaking part 2. Were you in the speaking part 2 class?
No, actually, there was an internet issue. That's why I couldn't connect.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'll give you a band score estimate and then give you a bit of feedback. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's talk about educational establishments. What are some places where people get formal education?
In my opinion, formal education usually takes place in the school premises or colleges where a person may learn about things related to the academics. These places often emphasize on well developed academic curriculum and the overall development of a child. Apart from that, they do offer highly qualified teachers. That's the reason I chose to attend a university for my graduation in computer science.
What are some where can people gain informal education?
In my opinion, one may acquire informal education starting from their early stages of childhood by conversing with their grandparents and learning about their life experiences, or by watching informative videos on YouTube or various other platforms, or even they can just play mind games that I think would be quite a very good way to develop informal education. Recently, I saw a mother teaching her child how to cook sandwiches, and I think that's one of the examples of informal education.
Okay, let's take a look at those. That was pretty good. All right. So I would say that you are definitely about a band 8. There are a couple mistakes where I'm like, oh, that's a band 6 mistake. But then otherwise, you speak so nice and fluent, and your answers are such accurate answers that I really want to give you a band 8. So I think a lot of examiners would give that to you. And if some of the examiners are very strict about a couple of awkward mistakes, they might give you a band 7 or 7.5. So for you, the important advice is careful what you say. Don't rush, okay? Because you have very good English. I think that you have band 8, which is called very good English, but you can't make awkward mistakes. Like, we don't cook sandwiches, okay?
Okay.
What do we do?
We make sandwiches.
Exactly. And I think if you spoke a little bit slower, especially with that example, then you wouldn't make that mistake. So don't speak so fast that your tongue gets all tied up and that you make a strange mistake like cooking sandwiches, because that's called a verb use mistake and it's an awkward mistake. So, a strict examiner will be like, okay, 1 point off. But an examiner who's paying attention to what you're doing really well would be like, all right, it's a mistake, but at the end of the day, it's still very good speaking. And that's kind of me. You said, in my opinion. You said that for both answers. So for both answers, you said, in my opinion. Careful not to overdo that. Okay, don't overdo the in my opinion. Yeah, it's your opinion. I got it. So once or twice, but not more. Okay.
Okay, got it.
in the whole speaking. Okay, so try to eliminate that from uh, overuse. Okay, you have some really nice vocabulary, and some of your grammar is exceptionally accurate. Like you said, one may gain informal education by conversing with grandparents. That's a lovely sentence. It's nice, natural, it's clean, it's professional. So you knew that the correct word form here is conversing, not conversation. That was very good. And your answer was very accurate. You used the question. You said informal education, and then you gave a couple different answers. You said by watching videos or by playing mind games. So that was all great. The only awkward part, like I say, was cooking sandwiches. Okay?
Yeah, got it.
All right, so don't rush. Your fluency is a band 9, and even if you speak 10% slower and pay a little bit more attention to your word choice, you will still have a fluency of band 9. Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes, have you seen that, Shambhavi, that sometimes on YouTube they tell you to speak really fast?
Yes, sometimes I have observed few examiners, or they say that you should speak fast, or the time is running out, what you have to say.
Yeah, don't do that. It's bad instructions. Okay, good communication does not have to happen extremely quickly. Yeah, if you're speaking so slowly that the listener has trouble keeping with your thoughts, then okay, that's a problem. But a lot of candidates, their English is fast enough, and rushing or trying to speak too quickly will create more problems in coherence, will create more problems in content, and the score goes down. So content and coherence is definitely more important than speed. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, I'm getting it.
Okay, so if I speak super fast, but nothing what I say makes sense, you're going to look at me like, what? If I speak slower, but I make a lot of sense, you're going to be like, all right, it's not super fast, but I can clearly understand him, right? So think about that. That's for everybody. Okay, now for your answer here, you gave, I'm just making, your answer was so close for the first one to mine, I'm not sure if I'm looking at yours or mine. Here we go. So you said, in my opinion, formal education takes place in school premises. Okay, very good answer again, just a couple of small mistakes. In my opinion, let's forget about that. Formal education takes place. Takes place was a very nice use of a phrasal verb. That would be considered an idiom. Okay, so when you use a phrasal verb like takes place, that's an idiom. You don't have to use strange idioms like hit two birds with one stone. You don't have to say that to get an idiom. Okay, you can use simpler idioms like takes place. In school premises, that should have been on school premises. Okay.
Okay, on school.
Yeah, on school premises. You are on school premises, on the grounds. Okay. Now pronounce this word after me. Premises.
Premises.
Yeah, that pronunciation was a little bit off in your answer, but otherwise, again, a very solid answer overall. Lots of good vocabulary. So a little bit slower, little bit more attention to word choice. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, keep it up. Keep practicing. I'll see you back here later on, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay, have an awesome rest of the weekend, and join the Light Hall class tomorrow if you have a chance.
Yeah,
okay?
I would do. Yeah,
Okay,
definitely. Thank
awesome.
you.
Bye. Okay, that was Shambhavi, and give her a thumbs up. She was the first volunteer in this class. That's very brave, showing a truly good level of English there. Okay, so let's take some more volunteers. Ghazi, I see you there. Hang in there. I want to give a couple other people a chance first. I do remember that I said you can follow up with part 2, that question that you missed. So I'll look for that. I'll look for the appropriate question. Milena, let's see if you are here. Can I be the next volunteer? You sure can be, Milena. Are you ready? Okay. So again, students, we're using the website aehelp.com for this. You have to create an account and then use the student partner speaking option. Okay. Thanks for this thumbs up, students. Good support. Yeah. Support each other. Okay. Milena is ready. Milena, I hear that you picked up, but I do not hear your voice on the other end of the line. Students, check your system, especially when you're using YouTube, which also uses your audio. You have to double check to make sure that your device can support two audio channels at the same time. And a good way to test this is to try with another volunteer. So Milena, I saw that you hung up there. You have a good connection too when you're doing lots of audio. Then you need to have good Wi-Fi, okay, or a LAN connection as well if you're running video dual audio on websites, okay. Using phones can be tricky for this. PCs are often better, okay. All right, Milena, check it out with another student. Meanwhile, I'll check if Aziz Beck is here. Okay, Aziz Beck, are you ready? All right. Also, some countries have restrictions on chat, so you might need to look into that, and you might need to use a VPN depending on where you are, like Iran or China. Okay, all right. Aziz back.
Good evening.
Hi, Aziz back.
Good evening. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good. Aziz Beck, where are you calling from?
I'm from Uzbekistan. I am a student. I study at school.
Okay, right on. Uzbekistan. Which city in Uzbekistan?
Tashkent.
You are in the
The
capital.
capital of Uzbekistan. Yes.
Capital, Tashkent. Nice. Awesome. So Aziz Beck, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
Now I study at presidential school. I think it's the most, it's the best school in Uzbekistan, and I want to study overseas.
Okay.
So I need SIT and IELTS.
Yes, you do. Definitely. And not just IELTS, but you need English, right? More importantly.
Yes, okay, of course.
IELTS is just proof of English, but at the end of the day, it's the English that you need. Okay, well, let me help you with that. So let's get into some speaking part 3 questions. Okay.
Okay.
So let's talk about educational establishments.
Okay.
Have post-secondary places such as universities improved in the last few decades?
So I think, they improved very well because as we can see, a lot of people are trying and doing their best to get IELTS exams and to learn international languages as English. Especially me, I'm studying English and Korean language. I think it's the most useful languages, and nowadays it is very useful because you can
you elaborate?
Study overseas, yes, collaborate, and even in development, in your country development, they can help you.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes.
What are the benefits of learning in foreign schools?
In foreign schools, there is a good atmosphere in foreign schools. For example, there are international teachers and also students only speak in English. And you will also need to speak in English to collaborate and to understand them. Your English skills will be improved. For example, I also study in international school, and my English language improved very well since 2020.
Can there be any negatives?
What?
Can there be any negatives?
Yes, there can be. Sometimes you don't understand them, and but you try to understand. You ask them to explain, and it will improve your language.
Okay, let me give you some feedback. So, depending on your examiner, that would be about a band 6, okay, for your responses, but perhaps lower, perhaps a 5.5. The reason being is that you are fluent, and usually when a person's fluent, they will kind of give that band 6, but if the candidate is fluent but they're not making a lot of sense, then they might give you a band 5. So even though in the band score descriptors, when you look at the IELTS band score descriptors, it says band 6, fluent user of English, band 7, good user of English. Even if somebody's fluent, they might not get a 6 if they're not making a lot of sense. And here, for some of your answers, you really weren't making too much sense to me. I was kind of like, are we talking about the same ideas here? So you have to really focus on the question and use the question to help you stay focused on the answer. Okay? So I asked you, the first question I asked you is, have post-secondary places such as universities improved in the last 2 decades? This question is a present perfect question that's asking for yes or no. Okay, so yes, they have improved, or no, they haven't improved, right?
Yes.
Now, if they have improved, then you have to tell me how they improved, why they improved, give me an example. If they haven't improved, you have to tell me why they haven't improved and give me an example, right?
Yeah.
You said, I think, well, they improved very well. So as soon as you said improved very well, your grammar is off. They have improved much, okay? We don't say improved very well. It doesn't make sense, especially in this context, this awkward English. So have improved much, okay? And this is for everybody. So Aziz Beck, this mistake, don't take it personally. A lot of people make these mistakes. So they have improved much, okay? And then you said, as we can see, a lot of people are trying and doing their best at IELTS. And you started talking about IELTS and then studying. And I couldn't get the relation between the improvement of universities and having to study IELTS. I didn't quite get where you were going with that. Okay, so you have to focus on the question. So here you should have said something like, yeah, I think while they have improved much, universities these days have better technology and teaching than they did 20 years ago. As science and information have developed much. Since the 20th century. I am going to learn some quantum computing, which is a new field of study. Okay, so that would be a much more on-topic answer. All right, so really pay attention to that. Now, another really big mistake, Aziz Beck, that you made is talking about the you. So saying you can do this, you can do that, right? And that can be very awkward, very confusing, and result in low marks. Okay, so I asked you, what are the benefits of learning in foreign schools? And then you said there's a good atmosphere in foreign schools. You need to speak in English to collaborate. I'm the examiner. I speak English. I probably have a university degree in English. There's a very good chance I'm a native speaker of English. So to tell me you need to speak in English and sometimes you don't understand the English is really awkward because you're talking to a native speaker. And even though it sounds like, you're talking about people in general, it's awkward. Do you get that? Right? So,
yes.
so you can't use you. You have to replace that with other nouns like people, individuals, okay? Or even more accurate nouns like teachers, instructors, students, pupils, peers, okay? So
yes, I got it.
Okay, so always replace those words. Okay, let's do a little bit of repetition with just this first one, just so you get a little bit of crystallization in your thinking, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to repeat this question, the answer, and then copy after me. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so have post-secondary places such as universities improved in the last few decades? I think, well, They have improved much. Universities these days have better technology in teaching than they did 20 years ago. Science and information have developed a lot since the 20th century. I'm going to learn quantum computing, which is a new field of study. Have post-secondary places such as universities improved in the last few decades?
Nowadays, students have a lot of chances of studying better than 20 years ago, and they have opportunity to speak with international students and teachers. Also, they can use technologies at their schools, universities, colleges to speak online with other country people.
Okay, and don't forget to include the answer to the question. So they have improved much.
Okay.
Repeat after me. So they have improved much.
So they have improved much.
You have to relate the question, okay? That's the way that you're going to guarantee that the examiner will say, okay, question answered, check. Oftentimes when you're sitting in your IELTS speaking and you see the examiners marking on their paper doing something, you don't know what, they're simply just marking answered the question, didn't answer the question, answered the question, didn't answer the question. So if you want them to mark answered the question, use the question, answer the question, right? They have improved a lot, okay? All right?
Yeah.
Okay, Aziz back. Good start. Lots of practice ahead. Your English, your foundation for English, so your vocabulary, I think is good. Focus a lot on the way you answer the questions, the communication. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for volunteering, Aziz Bek. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, so Aziz Bek from Tashkent, that was good, okay? Give him a thumbs up. And, you know, I'm being hypercritical, but that's because I want you to be the best you possible for your IELTS exam. And when I'm being critical, so when I'm analyzing and pulling apart your sentences, that's for everybody, okay? You will notice when you record your answers to these kinds of questions that a lot of people will make these kinds of mistakes, okay? All right, let's take another student here. Let's take another volunteer. Tsakyani, I believe it's Tsakyani. Yes, you can volunteer. You're at the end there. So are you ready? Tsakyani's in Indonesia. And we'll take Tsakyani. Ghazi, you're still on my radar. Don't worry. Maybe on the next volunteer, we'll see, okay? I'll try to look at the questions, which one is suitable. Okay. Walid, fifth, university doesn't make improvements these days. Self-improvement is more effective. Off topic. We're not talking about self-improvement. We're talking about universities. If universities haven't improved, you have to explain why universities haven't improved, not start talking about why self-improvement is more effective. Okay, stay on topic, students.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Chayani. How are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Good. Can you help me pronounce your name correctly again, please? It's a tricky one.
Okay. So I'll pronounce Cha Yani without H. It could make easy for pronounce.
Okay, Chayani. Okay, Chayani.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I can't figure out that H. I'm like Chahi or Cha, so it's Chayani. Okay, silent kind of H. All right. Okay, I got you. And where are you in Indonesia?
What? Can you repeat, please?
Yes. Whereabouts are you in Indonesia?
I'm good in here. Or wait.
Which city? Which city are you in?
I'm in Jakarta.
Jakarta.
Yeah.
Right on. Big city. Okay. Yeah, Chayani. And this is also for Aziz Bek, because Aziz Bek did this too. Aziz Bek said, what? Don't say what to the examiner. Okay.
Right, sorry.
It is considered rude. So if you don't and I know you're not doing it on purpose, and I know Aziz Bek wasn't doing it on purpose either, but if you don't understand what a person is saying and you say what, then they're kind of like, huh? So you need to say, please repeat that, or can you please say that again? Okay, so use a polite form there. Otherwise, some examiners get quite grumpy. They're like, "Rrr."
Sorry, sir.
Okay. Oh no, you don't need to apologize to me. I understand, believe me. But yeah, just stay away from that. It's because then they think, well, this person hasn't learned formal, informal language, right? So that's the reason why. It's not that they care. They see so many students. So don't say what, okay? So this is not just for you, Chan Kip. I'm making this note for everybody, and not just for Aziz Beck, because he did it too. He said what? So do not say what when you don't understand, okay? Instead, say, can you please repeat that? I didn't catch it. Okay, or even better, I didn't catch the question. Can you say that for me, Chayan Kip? And everybody who's watching, just repeat this. Can you please repeat that? I didn't catch the question. Chayan Kip?
All right.
Yeah, just repeat after me. Can you please repeat that? I didn't catch the question.
Can you please repeat that? I can't catch the question.
I didn't catch the question.
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch the question.
Yeah, that's better than can't, okay? There's a reason for that. Can't is general present, but didn't means what just happened, so it's a better way to say it. Okay, good. Well, let me get into a couple of part 3 questions for you. Focus on answer, explanation, and example, okay? All right. Here we go. Let's talk about learning environment. Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment?
Wait. In my view, sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment?
Which quality? From my habit, we should put away phone from the study place, so we would not get distracted from phone. If not, we are able to use phone without care about the wasting time.
What can students do to optimize their learning environment?
Several tips from me to focus on their study. Just plan about your future and motivate yourself. What should I do before the time come in? And find a supportive friend can support your study for each other.
All right. Okay, good. You got them. So you got the questions. Now, Chayan Kip, a couple of important points. So that would be about a band 5 on the IELTS exam. Okay, your answers. You know, you're having a little bit of difficulty with fluency, so it's taking you a bit of time to understand the question, process the question, and then come up with an answer. You're also using good words, but they could be better. You know, you said focus on their study, find a supportive friend. Find a supportive friend. More natural would be find a study partner. Okay, so study partner is the collocation that's used by native speakers most of the time, not supportive friend, but find a study partner. Okay, so your words are good, but they could be a little bit better. Your grammar is okay, but also could be a little bit better. So you want to kind of work on all of the different parts together to improve your speaking. Do a lot of recording, record yourself on the phone, and then practice that way. Now, here you can see the questions, but of course in the real IELTS exam, you don't see the questions, not like right now on YouTube. So it's a little bit more challenging. When you don't understand the question, like I asked you which qualities are usually necessary and you waited a long time, IELTS examiners will not be patient like me. They will just ask the next question. Okay, so if you wait too long, then the IELTS examiner will go, okay, they don't understand, I'll just ask the next question. So if you don't understand the question, quickly say, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you please repeat that question again? And then you buy a bit more time to understand it. Okay?
Did examiner have a minute to think the question?
No, they don't. If you ask for it, yes. If you ask for it, they can give you a little bit of time. So if you say, for example, that's an interesting question, please give me a few seconds, then they will give you a few seconds. But if you're just paused and you're just thinking, they will go to the next question. Okay, so the only way they will give you a few seconds is if you actually ask for it. So if you say, that's a good question, please allow me a moment to think, then you might have about 5 seconds. Okay, but if you don't say that, they will go to the next question if you just pause, because they think, well, maybe you don't understand the question, let's just go to the next one. Okay, so you have to ask for time if you need time. Okay, it's not from my habit, it would be better to say from my experience. Okay, so, and saying we is almost as bad as you. So instead of we, use students. So from my experience, students should put away their phone while studying. So they, okay, use more accurate pronouns, do not get distracted. And instead of repeating phone, you can say by calls and messages, or often these days you can say notifications. Okay, and then you need to give more detail instead of repeating yourself. You said, if not, we care about the use of phone. That was just kind of repeating what you already told me. Okay, so here you might include something like, also the study space should be bright, so it is easy on the eyes. It is easy to read and write. Okay, this is the reason I like learning in my room, because it has big windows. Okay, so you don't need to be super tricky, it just needs to be clear. Okay, let me repeat this question and then copy after me. And this isn't for Chai and Kip, this is for everybody else as well. So I'll ask the question, I'll repeat the answer. As soon as I'm finished the answer, just copy after me. Sounds good?
That's good.
Okay, so which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment? That's a good question. Please allow me a moment to think. From my perspective, students should put away their phones while studying so they do not get distracted by calls and messages. Also, the study space should be bright so it is easy on the eyes. It's easy to read and write. This is the reason I like learning in my room, because it has big windows. Okay, here we go. Your turn. Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment?
That's a good question. Please allow me a moment to think for 5 seconds. From my experience, students should put away their phones while studying so they do not get distracted by calls and messages. Also, the study space should be bright so it's easy on the eyes. It is easy to read and write. This is the reason I like learning in my room, because it has big windows.
Much better. Okay, much more accurate to the question. So just all around study. So you have a good balance of vocabulary, grammar, fluency. So you want to focus on all of these different areas of lexical resource, grammatical range accuracy, pronunciation, coherence, fluency, which just means a lot of practice. And one way that you can do that, Chankip, is use this website. So use the website that we're on right now. Don't just wait to talk to me, but talk to other people. So if you see Eugene or Ghazi or Anahita, send them a message and say, hey, can we ask 2 or 3 questions from each other just to get some quick practice in, and regularly practice every day. Okay, Chayani?
Okay, understood.
All right.
So,
Okay, Chayani, thank you so much for volunteering and sharing your thoughts with us. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you have a chance, participate in the Light Hall class tomorrow as well, okay?
thanks a lot, sir.
You're very welcome. Have a nice day, Chayani.
Thank you.
Okay, that was Chayani from Indonesia. That was really cool. So people from all around the world. Let's talk to Ghazi, because Ghazi, I think this question is your question. So you can follow up with what you had there in speaking part 2 as the last question. Ghazi, are you ready? See, I knew that there might be a speaking part 3 question for you here. And this is a good trick. So this is from last class. Ghazi volunteered to do a speaking part 2. I'm hoping that Ghazi is still here with us. He forgot to answer a question on the cue card. And there's a trick that you can do. We're going to show you this little trick here. Okay.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Ghazi. How are you?
Good. I'm fine.
All right. Now, as some of you may already know, Ghazi is in Canada, just very far from me. He's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I'm on the Pacific.
Too far.
Too far. Yeah. It's easier for you to go to New York than to Victoria, right?
Yeah. Or Cuba.
Or Cuba. It's closer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ghazi, remember that discussion that we had in the last class, how I said if you forget to answer a question on the cue card, you might be able to pull a little trick where you can sneak it in part 3, right?
We will try to find the place.
It's here. I'll show you where. Okay.
I think in the improvement or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or this one here, the which qualities. Here we go. So the question that Ghazi missed on the cue card was, how can this place be even better? I remember it, right? It was, how can this place be even better? And Ghazi was you were talking about the library, right?
Yeah.
And you said it should be bigger and there should be more quiet space, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so try to fit this concept into this question that I'm about to ask you, okay? And explain that to me. So I'm your examiner, right? So you want to clearly link it to part 2. So you can even say in relation to the part 2 cue card, or connected to that question I missed on the cue card, okay? So you can use those words, okay? So, all right, so here we go. Try it. Let's talk about learning environment. Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment?
The most efficient factors which can affect the learning atmosphere are quietness and encouragement. Encouragement, like the teachers have to encourage their students, that can help them to improve their academic performance. Also, quietness is necessarily to increase focusing. Whenever I go to the library in order to read, I find the other kids play or do their activities loudly. That can affect my focusing.
Okay, I'll stop you there, and I'm going to circle back a little bit and show you how you can do this even better, so to be even more direct, okay? So in part 2, you realize that, I missed that last answer. I ran out of time. The examiner stopped me, and I wasn't able to tell the examiner
Okay, yeah.
that the library in sorry, what's the city again where you're at? It's
Yeah, Bishop Falls. That's it.
Bishop
the town.
Falls, yeah. So the library in Bishop Falls needs to be bigger and needs to be quieter, okay?
Yeah.
So start with that. So I would do this, okay? So this is this is the strategy I would use. Watch this, okay? So effective learning in spaces.
Yeah.
So effective learning environments are spacious and quiet. In fact, I missed explaining this in part 2 about the way to make the library in Bishop. What was it again? Bishop. I forgot the name of the place. Bishop Falls. Yeah, okay. Falls, yeah. Do you have a big waterfall there called Bishop Falls?
There is, but the small is not big. But
No,
that
okay.
is a very common false name in many towns surrounded us. False.
Okay.
That's-
All right. So about the way to make the library in Bishop Falls even better.
yeah.
I found it to be a bit small and loud at times.
Yeah. Doesn't accommodate the visitors like that or visitors.
So notice how here I'm basically finishing my part 2 cue card in part 3, right? And definitely the examiner will be like, that's very clever communication. So even if they mark you as incomplete task in part 2, now they might say, hey, you know what? I'll give them that extra half band or that band score if they're this clever in their communication.
Yeah, that's good way. It's good link. Yeah, actually.
It's connectivity, right? It's intelligent speaking, right? So here we go. Repeat after me, Ghazi, okay? Here's the question, the answer, and then copy me. So which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment? Well, effective learning environments are spacious and quiet. In fact, I missed explaining this in part 2 about the way to make the library in Bishop Falls even better. I find it to be a bit small and loud at times, so it's difficult to focus. Okay, so here we go. What qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment?
Effective learning environment are spacious and quiet. In fact, I missed explaining this in part 2 about the way to make the library in Bishop Falls even better. I found it to be a bit small and loud at times, so it's difficult to focus.
Okay, great. So this is kind of a new trick or strategy, if you will, for our viewers. If you accidentally miss, okay, miss answering a cue card question, don't forget it. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. And part 3 is related to part 2, right? Like they tell you, part 3 is connected to part 2. So there's a very good chance that you will have a place where you can naturally answer that question.
Very common, yeah. And the cue card question usually 4 or 5 question, many question. As always, people miss one question like this.
Exactly. So it's kind of a nice trick to save yourself that half band score potentially, right?
That's good strategy. Perfect, yeah.
Okay. All right, Ghazi, thank you for coming back in this class and giving me the opportunity to show everybody this kind of trick or strategy for part 2, part 3.
I appreciate that, your tips. Yeah, actually, it's very useful tips.
Awesome.
I appreciate that, yeah. Have
Ghazi,
a nice weekend.
You too. Enjoy the weekend over on the East Coast and the Atlantic. Bye.
Thank you. See you next week. Take care.
All right, that was Ghazi. Give him a thumbs up. Ghazi Emre is from Syria, I believe, if I remember correctly. Ghazi moved from Syria to Eastern Canada, and he's a professional there in the medical field, I believe. And needs the IELTS for immigration work and so on, like many other people, of course. Okay. So thumbs up for Ghazi. That was really good strategy there, and lots of practice. Okay. All right. John, one of the most common names in the world. Let's see if John is ready. John, are you ready to volunteer? Let's see if we can reach out to John. Hopefully John's ready. John says, yes, I am. Awesome.
Hello, sir.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you, sir?
Good. John, if I remember correctly, Uzbekistan?
Sure, yeah.
Aha, I got it. I put your... John is a very common name, but I recognize your voice, so that's great.
Yeah, nice to hear that.
And are you in Samarkand?
Yeah, I am.
I got that too. Yeah, see, the old brain cells are firing today in my head. That's great. John, awesome. Now, Divi's asking me a very important question here. So before I get into a couple of part 3 questions, John, just allow me a moment. Divi is asking, how can I join tomorrow's class on Lighthall? Because tomorrow we have a class on Lighthall, which is a new platform for live teaching. So I'm going to copy that into the chat for everybody. Okay,
sure.
It's in there. Okay, so Divi, it's in there. John, if you want to come tomorrow to the Lighthall class, register. It's free. Okay.
I'll check it out.
All right. Lighthall, I honestly think, guys, that Lighthall is going to become very, very popular. They are producing a great piece of software for live teaching. It's better than YouTube because you can actually use video and audio within the live class, and there's no lag. Like there's, you know how YouTube has like a 5-6 second lag even on the best setting? Lighthall has 0. It's like real time, like you're perfectly real time for up to 80 people.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
It must have servers around the world then.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of the technology that they're using, but it's really impressive. They have some very clever people working for them. I mean, maybe Google will buy them at some point if they get... That's what happens, right? It's like, hey, those guys are doing a really good job. Let's just buy them.
Sure.
We'll give you $10 million. Now Lighthall is ours. Okay, you know what? Good for them. All right, so let's get into it. Here we go. Are you ready?
Sure, I am.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back here. Okay, let's talk about educational establishments. What are some places where people get formal education?
Well, individuals, especially students, can get formal education from high school, secondary schools, and also universities, colleges. I believe, throughout the town and city.
Where can people get informal education?
Well, informal educations are usually tend to be taught in private schools where people also get to interact with each other and may have some informal rules like not having a dress code. Also, some informal presentations with the class. So yeah, mostly in private centers and schools.
What are the benefits of learning in foreign schools?
Well, there can be many advantages of it. First and foremost, foreign universities and schools, especially the ones in the West, tend to offer higher education, which is better than other countries' education. I would say their style of teaching and the methods that they are using can be better and more effective comparison with their own particular country. And also the stuffs they have. I mean, to be more precise, they use modern techniques like. Instead of using old-fashioned blackboards, they use tech boards. I mean, where people get to see actual monitors, big screens, where they can write and demonstrate lessons.
Let's talk about the learning environment. Which qualities are necessary for an effective learning environment? Well,
ideal learning atmosphere would be somewhere which is quiet, away from distractions. I would say also it has to be some it should have comfortable table and chair, so far would be wonderful to have. This way, they will be encouraged to study more and dedicate themselves toward the tasks that they are going to do or are doing. Yeah, and also away from technology, they should put away their phones and other devices and turn off all the notifications.
What happens when these are not available?
Well, as long as these are not being available, I think this can result in poor academic performance. Students are not doing their homework and may not complete all of them. So it's basically poor academic performance again.
Okay, that is the end of the speaking section, and that concludes the speaking of the IELTS exam. You will have your mark online in 2 days and your official certificate in the mail in about 10 days with the other sections. Goodbye.
Oh.
Don't go anywhere, John. I'm just showing you
Sure.
how they kind of finish there. Okay, John, good and bad. Good. You're fluent. Fluency band 8, 9. Pronunciation 8, 9. Very good. Grammatical range accuracy 7, 6 to 7, closer to 7. Coherence 6. Okay.
Oh.
Because it's partial. I understand you. You actually gave good answers, but they were partial answers. You often missed an explanation and an example. So you gave me the answer, but you didn't tell me why. So I was like, oh, okay. And in my head, I was like, why? So in the real exam, you might actually have your examiner often asking you, why? Why? What's the reason? Can you elaborate? Can you explain? So you will hear that a lot if you're answering this way, which is not good. You don't want to have the examiner ask you, can you elaborate? Can you explain that too much? If they ask you once, ask you twice, it's okay. But if they're asking you that after every single question, you know there's a problem. It means that you're not explaining yourself, okay? All right. Some of your vocabulary was really good, like poor academic performance, nice, natural, high level way to express the response here. But where's the explanation, right? Students are not comfortable. They're unable to focus. They're not able to sit for a long time. They have to get up and walk around because their back starts to hurt. Their eyes start to hurt. So where's the explanation, right? I had to throw out my chair because it was so uncomfortable that my back was sore after 20 minutes of studying. So, where's that example, right? Where is that explanation? So you have to put that in there, okay?
Yep.
All right. And that was really like, if you listen back to this part, when you have a chance, come back to this video on the channel and then watch this part of the video. It'll be about at 1 hour and 12 minutes ish. And you're going to catch it. You're going to be like, holy smokes, I really do miss a lot of the explanations in these answers. So you have to explain yourself. Okay. Let me just check where I was at here. Yeah. So you said, well, students can get formal education from high schools, secondary schools, universities, colleges, because these have structured programs and subjects like science, biology, psychology. So again, more explanation there. And then I asked you, where can people get informal education? And you said private schools. That was a mistake. So private schools also offer formal education. Okay, it's just in private schools. That's still formal education. If you catch yourself making a mistake like that, John, stop yourself. Instead of spiraling and going further and deeper into that mistake, because I think you kind of maybe felt that at some point too, you have to bring yourself out and you have to say, no, my mistake. Private schools are still formal education. I guess informal education would be like at home, from parents, from siblings.
Oh yeah.
Right? So you have to pull yourself out of that mistake. I think you can do a lot better with this question. Let me ask you this question one more time. Okay. Let's show everybody how to do this correction. Okay. So I'm not going to write this, John, because I think you can do it just by listening to me. So I'm going to give you the answer and then something similar. It doesn't have to be the same as me, but just copy the same concepts, okay? So where can people gain informal education? Well, informal education is taught in private schools where they don't have a dress code. And wait a second, yeah, that's not right. Private schools are still formal education. Okay, informal education. People get informal education from home, from their siblings, from their friends, from their TV shows, where they can learn some good tips and tricks about life, like life hacks, like how to tie shoelaces or how to throw basketball. I learned basketball by hanging out and playing with my friends. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be the exact same, just the same kind of concepts and structure. Here we go. Where can people gain informal education?
Well, informal educations are usually taught in private schools. Oh no, wait a second. I think informal education is usually taught in families, nurturing while they're being brought by their parents and their relatives. They probably have their influence on child, and they may teach particular skill to their kids. For instance, I personally learned playing a football, which is also kind of essential to keeping our health, with my uncle. He is a successful football player. Apart from that, I learned.
Stop there. Just stop there. That's good. Perfect. Finish.
Okay.
You're done. You've finished your example. Even the successful football player, you don't need. I don't need to know if your uncle's great or not. He taught you football. That's what's the important part, right? So you stop there, and then if you really want, you can finish it by saying that's informal education. So now you've made it clear to the examiner that you realize that that was a mistake at the beginning, and you now know what they're looking for, right? So self-correction is very good. It's much better than going off topics, wrong idea, and then going far down that rabbit hole, right? Then the examiner will mark incorrect answer or answered incorrectly. They basically, the examiners, when they're marking on their sheet, as I was mentioning to another student, they basically have kind of 3 criteria that they're really looking for. I mean, they're looking for lexical resource, they're looking for grammar, but on their sheet, they're also really just looking for didn't answer the question, answered the question well, and answered but wasn't accurate. It's kind of like the 3 ways to look at it, right? So you want that answered accurately. You want them to check the answered accurately, and self-correction is very important for that. Okay, John?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for helping me prove and show that point to all of our listeners. And like I say, I think your English is quite good. So you're closer to a band 7.5 for sure, maybe even an 8. Just make sure that you slow down a bit and pay attention to detail, explanation, example. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you too much. Thank you too.
Okay. Awesome, John. Have a great rest of your day in Samarkand.
Well, it's actually about to end. It's about 9 o'clock.
Rest of your day.
9 p.m.
Rest of your day. Your last 3 hours.
Sure.
All right.
You too.
Good night. Bye, John. Okay, that was John. Thumbs up. Very good, everyone. Yeah. So great. Yes. Pushing everybody for those corrections. Okay, students, let's stop there for today. And again, don't worry. It's not the end of your learning week with me yet. You can continue to learn with me tomorrow on Light Hall, as I was just saying. So do join me there. I'll copy that link into the chat one more time. It is a free class, by the way. So hop on in. Come on over to Light Hall. Check it out. It's great learning. The class is a little bit later. So in your time, it will start an hour before now. So it starts a little bit later than this class did. It starts 30 minutes later than this class started. Okay, so UTC, Universal Standard Time, 15 o'clock. So mark that in your calendar. Okay, everyone, get all of our videos, get all of our practice exams, get all of our computer-based interactive courses, the app for your phone. Start learning with the right strategies and skills for success today. aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. We are leaders when it comes to IELTS success. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria here on the Pacific West Coast of Canada, where it's still the start to the day. It's just about 9 o'clock. For all of you who are getting ready for bed, have nice dreams. For all of you who are getting ready for the day, I hope you have a pleasant rest of your Saturday. Much love to all of you wherever you are in our beautiful world. See you tomorrow and see you next week. Bye.